Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel. If you didn't know, EDC stands for Everyday Carry, and it refers to tools that you carry at all times, either to do your job in case of emergency or just to be ready for adventure. On this channel, sometimes we talk about tools for our grown-up toys. I guess you could say I'm a little obsessed with pocket tools. I'm also obsessed with bicycling toolkits. I have a dedicated kit for every bike, and they adjust size based on the distance and adventure at hand. I was also the inventor of the Specialized Bicycles Top Cap Chain Tool and SWAT CC tool. Both of these fit inside the steer tube of a mountain bike and helped to fuel an entire movement finding unused places on your bike to store things. For RC, I want to have several travel toolkits assembled. I want a super small one that I can throw in my pocket if I'm just walking around the neighborhood that has just the bare minimum. Then I want a slightly larger one that I can throw into my corrupt carbon backpack for when I jump on my e-bike and go a little further from home. Then I need a kit I can take on a plane. It has to be comprehensive because I may not have access to tools or parts wherever I go, and it needs to be small, light, and TSA legal. Finally, the biggest kit goes in my full-size car when traveling further because I don't care about weight or compactness. So for RC, I want a couple different kits. The first kit is something I can just throw in my pocket, walk out of my house, and have a couple essentials in case something goes wrong. My first thought was to get a tool that's based on bit drivers. And there's actually two sizes of bit drivers. The most common is 1/4 inch or 6 point something millimeters. And there's also a smaller version, which is a 4mm bit. They're often called micro or precision bits. So for an RC car, I was thinking maybe precision bits would be a good way to go. So I started with this collection I compiled of bits. It has every size bit, both in 1/4 inch and 4mm, that I would use on any of my cars. Some are long, some are short. There's some adapters, some storage cases. I built this as sort of the backbone to all of my travel toolkits. This is a simple, very small Weehaw 1/4 inch bit driver. It's nice and small, fits in your pocket okay, but you'd have to carry a rack of bits with it like this. So there's a slightly better one. It's a little bit bigger, made by Wera, and the cap comes off, sort of, and inside you can store bits. So I put in just the bits I want. It only holds short bits, not long bits, and I think it only holds 6 bits. So that's an option I looked at. Starting to get a little bulky for your pocket. So then I thought, what about this cool, tiny, real thin? It's a little bit longer and skinnier and fits in your pocket better, and it's a 1/4 inch driver, also by Wera. This is a really nice size for your pocket. And you can get a 1/4 inch to 4mm adapter so you can carry all your small bits and you don't have to carry 1/4 inch bits. That might start to be too many pieces to get lost, but it's an option. Then I found this one, which is pretty inexpensive. I think it was 12 bucks. It's a 1/4 inch drive, and it's got a magnetic lid, and you would store the bits that you want in the tail. It's kind of heavy, a little bit bulky. Not sure how solid this magnetic lid is, but it is really nice machined aluminum, and the bits are magnetic in this tip. So that's kind of a cool option. Then we get into some slightly more sophisticated ones. This one's real nice looking. This one is the 4mm bits, real small. And it's long and skinny, fits in your pocket nicely. The end rotates so you can drive it like this. And the end also pulls out and allows you to store, it looks like 12 bits inside. Ooh, it's magnetic too, so they just stick in there. So this one's pretty cool. Very simple, magnetic, stays together. I like this one. This might be my pocket tool. I also bought this one. This was a little bit more expensive. It's all machined out of titanium, which is pretty cool. Everybody loves titanium. Oh yeah, this is nice looking. Check that baby out. Kind of heavy for a block of titanium. Little door, and what you do here is you can store up to four 4mm bits inside. So I'm limited to 4 tools, and you can kind of lose them because they don't stay in, but it is magnetic here. So that is really nice, and that's the smallest of them all so far. So if I only want 4 tools, this one would fit in my pocket really nicely. That's pretty cool. This one might be my everyday carry. Can't decide. The one thing that none of these tools address is wheel nuts. Those are usually 7mm or 8mm on RC crawlers. So you need something to make sure your wheels are tight. And none of this accommodates that. So my favorite tool for wheel nuts around the shop is this ProTech from A-Main Hobbies. It's their house brand, and it really is, in my opinion, the nicest machined handle, very good tips, rotating end. I like these better than anybody else's handles I've seen. But it's a little bigger than I want to carry in my pocket. So I have some smaller ones. These were deluxe branded, but I think they're just a Chinese knockoff. And I made some that are 2 different lengths, so depending how much room I have, I can take a different length. My wheel nuts are 8mm, which is a little bit big for trying to fit inside Vanquish SLW nuts. So virtually every wrench I've had, I had to turn this down to get it to fit inside. Now, MIP makes some really great tools. Their tip is small enough to fit inside. It's the only tool outside of Vanquish I've seen where an 8mm will fit inside the wheel adapters. Now, this MIP handle, I don't know if they're going for a retro look, but this is not the most expensive or sophisticated handle. It's just injection molded plastic. In the 70s, virtually every screwdriver looked like this, so I don't know if they like that throwback look. It's certainly not the most comfortable, but it does have really good bits on it. You can also buy smaller MIP bits to carry with you. So I could throw in my pocket a tool and an 8mm bit. That would be really small. Now this doesn't fit in the back though, so you have to carry it separately. So my toolkit might look like this in my pocket. Or these 2 pieces. This is one of the more important tools you need on the trail. Vanquish always makes this adapter, which adapts from 8mm down to 7mm. So you can adapt almost any 7mm to an 8mm skinny driver. You do have to make sure that the diameter of the 7mm is still small enough to fit in. I've bought quite a few 7mm drivers that were too big to fit inside the wheel nut. Another good option for pocket tools are these Weeha Precision, they're called. They come in nut drivers, hex drivers. I use them all over the place. They're really small, they're really good, and they're super precise. And they're pretty inexpensive. I bought this 7mm Team Associated tool thinking I could possibly drive my 8mm wheel nuts with this, but this diameter was too big, so I either have to machine it down, which I hate to do and ruin the beautiful hard anodized finish. So this tool turned out, well, maybe not as useful as I had wanted. MIP also makes other sizes. My car has pretty much 5.5 nuts only on the whole car. So I might take this as well, a 5.5 nut driver and an 8mm nut driver. I also have a collection of open-end wrenches in 5.5. This one is super thin. Sometimes you got to get in into a tight spot. This is really nice. I really like this one too. It's a really nice socket on both ends. It only comes in a couple sizes. Fortunately, it does come in 5.5. And this one is super nice. I just think it's really small and really smooth and has a great fit. And then you can always get what's called Craftsman ignition wrenches. You have to buy a whole kit of like 30 wrenches just to get the sizes you need. And there are lots of tools that look like this on the market, but really Craftsman's the only one I found that actually has a nice tight fit in the dimensions of their wrenches. Off-brand ones, they usually fit loose, and the last thing you want is to round off your nuts. So having said that, for my pocket tool, I would probably pick something real simple like this, or this titanium one's really cool, with maybe one of the smaller nut driver tools. This would be kind of my pocket tool if I'm just walking around the house. If I'm taking my backpack and going further, I'll probably pick a couple of the bigger tools and take some wrenches and maybe a couple drivers. I would throw a few more tools in there. I'll put links in the description to everything you see in this video. You might be wondering why YouTube channels are always mentioning affiliate links and commissions. In the US, the Federal Trade Commission requires us to explain that. The way links work is you don't actually have to buy the exact item on the link. For example, if you click on the link to a wrench, you can actually buy any tool or home improvement item within 24 hours and the channel will get a small commission. I only show products that I've actually used and purchased with my own money. I share links mainly to make it easy for you, but I sincerely appreciate every one of you who supports the channel by shopping with the links in the description. Thank you. Did you know you can also support the channel directly by using the Super Thanks feature and leave a tip? And of course, like, subscribe, and share with your friends who want to level up their crawling game. Now for my airplane travel kit. Again, I want small, lightweight tools because it's a carry-on. So for my travel tool kit, I take a little bit bigger kit. I've got all Weehaw precision tools. And if you've seen in my bolt video, you'll know that I use Torx fasteners on almost everything. So I have 2 Torx wrenches, 2 hex wrenches. That fits every single fastener on my car. I've got a 5.5 millimeter wrench. I've got a couple pliers, a set of clippers, and some zip ties. This is the kit I travel with if I'm going on a short flight somewhere to drive. If I were going to a competition, I would take a few more tools just in case. Now, theoretically, everything here is TSA legal. You can take it on your carry-on. But I do worry at some point a TSA agent might get mad at these because they're kind of long and pointy. And I feel like I could do some real damage, Wolverine style if I wanted. So I worry a little bit that these might get confiscated someday. So to combat that, I have a couple basic L wrenches that I throw in. So if I lose these, I've always still got a backup. Or I might throw in one of these drivers that stores a bunch of bits. They'll never take that away. That's 100% legal. Everything in this kit should be TSA legal as of 2024. The regulations say any tool under 7 inches, and these are all well under 7 inches, so they should travel. But the TSA does leave them an out, stating it's up to the TSA agent on the spot to decide whether your tools are legit. I did lose some drill bits the other day, which are explicitly prohibited, which I didn't know. They were only 4 or 5 inches long. I was carrying them for a job I was working on, and I lost those to the TSA. But they were easy enough to replace when I got to my destination. I don't know why I was carrying 2 drill bits. Now let's look at some pliers. I really love these Knipex parallel pliers. They call this a plier wrench. And if you look at this, it has flat jaws and it clamps parallel. This is so useful for so many things. It doesn't damage and crush things the way a jagged plier does, and it has a huge amount of power. I've got these in quite a few sizes. This is a 5-inch. It's about the right size for RC. They do make a smaller 4-inch, and then I've got an 8-inch and a 10-inch. I've got a bunch of them. They're super handy. Then also I carry a set of channel lock pliers. You never know when you might need to grab something else. And again, Knipex is my favorite brand. This is a 6-inch. They also make a 4-inch and a 5-inch. And I bought this 4-inch, and it is really small. Maybe even too small. This might do something better in a different kit, but man, it's really, really nice. So nice. Maybe I need to get a 4-inch version of this. That'd be a really cool pairing. Also, I'm going to carry a good set of rod end pliers. You never know when you might have to change a rod end or grip onto your links to tighten something. So this is a really nice, sleek pair, pretty inexpensive. And I'm also going to trade out these cutting pliers for a tiny set of nippers. This should do well enough to cut a zip tie. Cuts it nice and flush. Yeah, close enough. This is usually found in the fishing department. This is for cutting fishing line, I believe, but does great on tiny zip ties. And it's much smaller than the pliers, so I'll probably throw that in as well. And if you're old, you might want to throw in some reading glasses just in case. These are some of my favorite travel glasses. They're super tiny, really inexpensive, and you look totally stupid wearing them. I might also consider a good set of needle nose pliers. You never know when you got to fix something really tiny on your car, but I'm probably covered on the pliers front. Also, don't forget spare nuts, bolts, screws, a few parts that you might commonly break, a mini purple Loctite, and some zip ties, and why not some duct tape.